Ready for a lot of race action? Well, it's time for the DTM. We are here at the Lausitzring, ready for race 2, and we've got spectators here enjoying the sunshine, and hopefully we're going to see a lot of race action, which of course they're also really looking forward to. The mood is fantastic, that's for sure. We've been hearing them clap and smile, and they're very excited, and so are we. And we've got a rookie here in the DTM. His name is Phillip Ellis. He's right here, and he's doing so extremely well. He won yesterday in the race, and today starting in pole position. So Phillip, what do you think? What can you do from here?
I mean, it's tough to say. You know, super happy with qualifying, of course. Couldn't have been better. But now I think it'll take some laps to see how much the penalty weight actually affects us. Maybe affects the tire wear, affects the balance a little bit. So, you know, I have to get into rhythm for the first couple of laps, survive the start, of course. It's always big chaos. And from then, you know, just attack to the front. Would be nice to take the second win. But it's a big challenge. The cars behind us don't have any weights, only Liam next to me. So I think they'll be pretty aggressive on the start as well. And yeah, let's see how it goes. Oh,
you can bet they're going to be hard on you. Yep. But best of luck, Phillip. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And now here's your commentator.
Thanks very much indeed, Verena. Yeah, Chris Hartley here, up above the start line at the top of the grandstand in a thankfully air-conditioned commentary box, because it's getting very hot again out there. It was around about 25 degrees for qualifying this morning. The track temperature was about 38 degrees, but now it's 29.5 degrees air temperature, and the track temperature is nearly 42, so hot stuff for the drivers. There is how they're going to line up for this second race of the weekend. You've just heard from the pole sitter. Tremendous effort from yesterday's winner, Phillip Ellis, with a lap time that was 0.4 of a second quicker than anybody else out there. Liam Lawson is going to start alongside him on the front row of the grid, driver second in the championship. We've got Max Scotts with another strong qualifying performance to match the one he put together at Monza. Much better than yesterday, where Max was only 15th quickest in qualifying. And then also on that second row of the grid, Kelvin Van Der Linde, who's the championship leader, and is going to be directly behind Liam Lawson, who is the driver second in the championship. Esme Hawkey, we saw heading for the car. A lot of the drivers have been trying to stay shaded because of the heat conditions. They'll be coming out of the shade at the last moment. Down there on the grid in the heat, let's go back to Verena.
Bad luck because he couldn't finish the race, but today Maxi is strong, standing in P3. So Maxi, after a bad day yesterday, how hard are you going to push and try your best to hopefully end up on the podium?
Yeah, for sure. So hopefully Phillip will give me a tow throughout turn 1, and maybe there's a chance for me to overtake at some point. I have the freshest tires. These guys in front having the ballast rate from yesterday's race result, so I am also comfortable in this. So let's see. So for sure, I want points in the end, and I want a trophy, and of course the biggest one. So let's see, and I try my really best to overtake these guys, and I want to have a fair race, you know. And in the end, every point counts for the championship, and so I take all.
All right, I bet. So best of luck for the race, Maxi. Thank you so much. And we're going to try to grab, Kelvin, who's right here, the cool South African. I'm just in the middle of the liver, sorry. We're going to grab Kelvin here, who is starting in P4. So hello there. It's always lovely seeing you here. It's the South African coolness that you and your brother are just kind of spreading, which I love. But let's talk about the race. It's going to be hot, it's going to be tough, it's going to be challenging. So from this position, what do you think can you do, and how tough will it be with these three in front of you?
Well, these guys all came from behind yesterday, so I'm hoping to do the same, just in reverse order. So yeah, that's the goal for today, and let's see what we can do. Obviously, the main point is to get points. I'm still leading the championship, so that's the main goal.
Absolutely, I'm sure. Thank you so much, and do enjoy and give it your best. I'm sure you will.
Guys, thanks.
All right, and now we're going to grab Liam, who's sitting completely relaxed in the shadow, and I'm going to try to Hey, Liam, do you mind getting up? Fantastic, because we'd love to interview you just shortly before the race. You did such a great job. You're a rookie here in the DTM, but you are so strong. It's unbelievable. Your car is so fast. Yesterday you were in second place, and today you're starting here in P2. So it's obviously a brilliant, not quite brilliant, but almost. You know, it's a very, very good position. So what's your feeling for the race?
Hopefully we can make that one better. Obviously after finishing second yesterday, front row again today, but off P2. Honestly, it's better than we expected though. Phillip was in a league of his own this morning in quali. I think we did the best job possible. P2 was the maximum today, but everybody behind me was within 1 or 2 tenths, so it's extremely close. I think today's race is going to be tough.
Oh, tough but exciting for us spectators, I'm sure. How challenging is the Lausitzring? I mean, especially with, it's really hot. I think track temperature is around 39 degrees. So what is it like for you as a driver?
It's tough for sure. Turn 1's really hard on the tyres as well, so that right side gets a lot of load put through it, especially in this temperature. So tyre dig is definitely something that we have to be careful of. But no, I got to go get in the car.
I know.
Yeah.
Best of luck, Liam, and I'm sure it's going to be a fantastic race and definitely for us spectators. So yeah, let's get this race started and now enjoy everyone, and here's your commentator.
Thanks, Verena. Verena down on the disco grid there, and we've heard from 2 of the key championship contenders. Just heard from Liam Lawson, who bagged second place in qualifying this morning. That also gave him an extra 2 championship points, which means he's now on 47 points and only 7 points behind Kelvin Van Der Linde, who starts directly behind him. We've got Phillip Ellis with that pole position getting 3 points as well, so he's shot up now after yesterday's win into third place in the championship. He's got another 3 points, so he's on 36 points. So 54 for Van Der Linde, 47 for Lawson, and 36 for Ellis. That means there's only 18 points between the top 3 and 25 points up for grabs for the race win today. Sheldon Van Der Linde, the younger brother of Kelvin, will be hoping for better things today. He started on pole, but ultimately only finished 9th yesterday. Although he was 3rd on the road, picked up a 5-second penalty for a pit stop infringement, which demoted him down to 9th place. There's Lucas Auer. Fond memories of his first podium, his first win coming here at the Lausitzring, and he's been a 3-time winner. There's only one driver that's won more times here at the Lausitzring, and that's Gary Paffett, who's absent this weekend, but should be coming back into the championship next time out at Zolder in a couple of weeks' time, when we return to Belgium in much warmer, hopefully, conditions than we had last year, because it was right at the end of the season for 2 back-to-back weekends in 2020 that were at Zolder, so very cold conditions. Timo Glock getting strapped in. There's the South African flag. That might be 2 of the chaps that were on the entrance this morning, very early on their bikes with the flag draped, ready to welcome in the Van Der Lindes. So lots of support here for both Kelvin and Sheldon. Remember, the top 3 in each race get success ballast for the next race, and that means that Phillip Ellis, as yesterday's winner, will now add 25 kilograms of success ballast to his car. Liam Lawson will have 18 kilograms added on, and Mike Rockefeller will have 15 kilograms added onto his car after finishing on the podium yesterday. He's very relaxed. Max Gotts, former GT Masters champion, for his 3rd stint in the DTM. He's had 2 seasons previously, but this season a much more competitive outfit. As we look at the ITR chairman, Gerhard Berger, the ex-Formula 1 racer, 10 times a Grand Prix winner, famous for his exploits at Ferrari and McLaren and Benetton. Big friends and a big teammate with the late great Ayrton Senna, and the man that's put together this new era of DTM, which has been hugely successful so far. We've had 4 qualifying sessions, we've had 4 different pole sitters, we've had 3 races, and we've had 3 different race winners. An enormous amount of drivers already on the grid, already scoring points. And it's going to be about consistency this year. Somebody that's starting to show signs of that consistency is Liam Lawson. He's had a win and a second from the 3 races so far. But Phillip Ellis is very much the driver on form this weekend. He's loving this circuit. He's almost pinching himself that it's going so well. I spoke to him after the race yesterday, and he said, you know, I went into that race, 9th on the grid, thinking damage limitation. I'll see if I can score a few points, scrape into the top 10. And then he had these wonderful starts, especially the restart after the safety car, to come storming through. And it was fairly late on in the race, he said, where he thought, actually, I think I might be able to win this race. I can't believe how well this is going. And he was the same when Verena spoke to him after qualifying this morning. I can't quite believe it's going the way it is. And a huge advantage, 4 tenths quicker than anybody else, as I say, whereas most of the field are covered by just 8 tenths of a second. But as I say, we'll have this weight added onto the car. Nothing is straightforward in the DTM. We'll find out what happens in just a few minutes' time. So it's day 2 at the Lausitzring in the Brandenburg region. We're located not too far from the town of Klettwitz, and this circuit built on the site of a former huge open-air coal mine. But we're surrounded by forests and woodlands. It's a very pretty part of the world here in the east of Germany. There's huge turbines in and around the circuit providing eco-friendly wind power. But here on the circuit, it is all about high speeds. It's a huge arena, this. The driveway from the car park on the way into the circuit, with some monuments of times gone by as you walk through and eventually get to the gates. And there you're greeted by this huge grandstand overlooking the start-finish line, which in itself can home 25,000 spectators. Huge place this, 120,000 spectators when it is full, when it's able to be full. And in addition to DTM, it's hosted, of course, IndyCar in the past, which is the reason this tri-oval circuit was built. It's hosted World Superbikes. It's even hosted the Red Bull Air Race in the past. So it's a high-speed venue, this. Top speeds that we've seen have been well over 270 kilometres an hour. So it's not a full 4-corner banked oval. It's a tri-oval with effectively 3 corners. And we're using 2 of them this weekend, effectively, especially turn 1. This new layout that we've got for this weekend has never been used before by the DTM. So instead of turning off through the infield, they'll actually take the first banked corner, the IndyCar line. It's not that banked. It's only 6 degrees, just under 6 degrees. It's bumpy. You can't quite take it flat out. You've got to be brave. And I was speaking to Marco Wittmann and Phillip Ellis about the first corner yesterday, what it was like. And Marco Wittmann saying, you know, you've got to go in, you've got to hold the throttle and hold your line, and you cannot flinch when you're in that corner. It's 300 metres long, so you're in it for quite a while. If the car starts to twitch, you can't correct it, you can't oversteer or turn out of the slide, because if you do that at those speeds, the car will just snap away from you and you'll be in the wall. You can't hit a bump, you can't run wide onto the dusty section of the circuit where all the old bits of rubber are. It's too slippy. And you just got to go in, and Marco Wittmann said you go in, you hold on, you almost hold your breath, and you just stay as still as you can for 5 or 6 seconds, and then you breathe a sigh of relief and think, I've got through it one more time. And off towards turn 2, you charge. They don't brake until, Phillip Ellis said, about the 140-metre mark. They brake really late on the way into turn 2, given they're going over 170, nearly 175 miles an hour. And then you turn off the circuit into the infield. Ask Phillip, what was the run through turn 1 like at the end of the race when the tyres had been worn and were past their best? And the one-word answer he gave with a big smile on his face was sketchy. So that's something else for these drivers to consider. Yesterday, the bulk of the drivers came into the pits between laps 9 and 12, so fairly early pit stop. We had that early safety car period as well because of Esme Hawke's crash. So those tyres that were put on for the start of the race won't have got much life used out of them. You only have 3 sets of Michelins to use throughout 2 free practice sessions, 2 qualifyings and 2 races. So they have to manage their tyres. They can't just put a new set on every time they go out. That helps keep the cost down, and it brings some strategy into play as well. But that first set of tyres that those drivers will have used will have only done between 9 and 12 laps, and 4 or 5 of those laps were behind the safety car, so not really eating up the rubber. So they should have fresh tyres. I spoke to the driver that did an alternative strategy, Nico Muller, yesterday, because he pitted on the very last lap of the race. He led for a long time, but we all knew he was going to drop down the order because of his advantage was fairly slim. And he said, you know, that was a change of strategy because he went off the road trying to attack from 16th on the grid, and then switch to this strategy, really just to save tyres, because you have to do the mandatory stop, you have to come in. But of course, his second set of tyres did just 1 lap, so he's got good tyres as well for this race. But again, he's a long way down the grid. Looked a bit better for him in the first part of qualifying, but ultimately everybody else got quicker in the second part, and Nico didn't really, so he's 15th on the grid for this one. The driver that did come into the weekend 3rd in the standings, Nico Muller, runner-up in the championship for the last 2 seasons running. He said, I don't regret going for the move because I had to attack from where I was on the grid. I just regret that it didn't work out. But he said the car is just not working for us this weekend. Cannot get the balance anywhere around the circuit. It's not one part of the course it's not working on. It's everywhere. So they were going to try something radical, I think, with the setup. but they've tried a few things and they've been chasing their tails at Team Rosberg. Issues as well for Nico's teammate Dev Gore in the number 12 sister car. So they head off then onto the formation lap. It's 55 minutes plus 1 lap, the scheduled race distance. Fantastic to see the grandstands with some spectators in again. 10,000 capacity, restricted capacity, as we work our way out of this terrible worldwide pandemic. The sun is shining and everybody is desperate to get out and watch some live sport, some live activity. There's been a great atmosphere behind the grandstands as I walk from the paddock across the bridge, across the circuit to this side of the track to get to the commentary box. There's a real festival feel, there's music playing, there's all sorts of food stalls, merchandising stalls, lots of people gathered enjoying themselves and having some freedom at the back of the grandstands before they make their way to their seats, ready for this second race of the weekend. So the grid is going to shape up like this. On pole position, Phillip Ellis. Second, Liam Lawson. Third, Max Gotts. Fourth, Kelvin Van Der Linde. Fifth, Timo Glock. Sixth, Lucas Auer. Seventh, Sheldon Van Der Linde. Eighth, Daniel Hunkadea. Ninth, Arjun Mining. 10th, Mike Rockefeller. 11th, Vincent Abril, who had all of his points taken away for a fuel irregularity after Monza. And so he's looking to score his first points. 12th, Max Buch. 13th, Alex Albon. 14th, Marco Wittmann. 15th, Nico Muller. 16th, Esteban Moot. 17th, Dev Gore. And 18th, Esme Hawkey. Sophia Florsch didn't put a lap in qualifying, so she has to start at the back of the field in the number 99 Team Abt Audi. The car yesterday struggling early on with fuel pressure problems. So the car was being starved of fuel. That was a problem that started on the formation lap, apparently, and she didn't get very far into yesterday's race. And then the car, as she went out for qualifying this morning, stopped again out on track. So she didn't put a lap in at all. So the car not behaving, I'm afraid, for Sophia Florsch. They'll have worked really hard to try and solve the problem, and hopefully from her point of view and from the team's point of view, she'll have a car which she can race now for the rest of the afternoon. Getting ready then for the rolling start. Here they come, back onto the banking. Phillip Lawson in the Winwoods number 57 blue and white Mercedes, the Red Bull liveried AF Corsa Ferrari of Liam Lawson alongside, ready for a full 55 minutes plus 1 lap of racing. The red lights go out and round 4 of the DTM gets underway, and it's another good start for Phillip Ellis. He's got his nose in front here. Liam Lawson trying to go with him, but it's going to be Ellis in the lead of the race. Gotts is just, I think, about going to hang on to third, or is he? Because he's under attack from Kelvin Van Der Linde around the outside as they come out of turn 1. It's a good start as well for Daniel Hunkadea in the bright pink number 8 Mercedes. He looks like he's gaining ground from 8th on the grid. Phillip Ellis then on the way down into turn 2. He's got Liam Lawson trying to come around the outside of him, side by side for the lead of the race. Kelvin Van Der Linde in third, and there goes Liam Lawson down the inside into turn 3, and he's got the lead of the race. Fantastic move. So the 19-year-old up to first place with a brave move that on the way into turn 3. Set it up beautifully though, didn't he, on the way into turn 1. And there we've got Max Gotts coming side by side again with the number 4 machine. And he looks like he's going to sneak himself back up into third place here, potentially on Kelvin Van Der Linde, though Kelvin digs his heels in, holds the inside line, and the Audi just about staying ahead of the Mercedes. But for how long, as Timo Glock runs out wide, takes some gravel. He drops down the pack a little bit. Max Gotts is off the road. He's got Daniel Hunkadea coming alongside him. 2 big Mercedes, different teams, and the drivers switch positions. So Max Gotts, who was hoping to hold on to third place on this first lap of the race, has actually dropped back to 5th position now. So difficult start for him. Lucas Auer's made a decent start as well. He's just behind in 6th place where he started as they come out of turn 10, and Liam Lawson gets his head down, accelerates and charges out of turn 10 to complete the first lap of the race as the leader, and he's well clear of Phillip Ellis in 2nd, Kelvin Van Der Linde in 3rd. Hunkadea 4th, Gotts in 5th, Auer 6th, Sheldon Van Der Linde 7th, Max Buch in 8th, Marco Wittmann 9th, Arjun Mining in the points in 10th place, looking for his first championship points as well. And Nico Muller trying to go on the attack as well, but he's got Alex Albon just behind him in the Ferrari there, 12th and 13th. Daniel Hunkadea holding the inside line on the way into turn 2. Trying to defend, but also trying to catch up to the number 3 car of Kelvin Van Der Linde as Timo Glock goes up the inside, or tries to go up the inside of Alex Albon's AlphaTauri Ferrari. He's also got to keep an eye on the mirrors with Esteban Moot coming through from a lowly grid position. Esteban has not been out of the top 5 in qualifying until this morning. But the T3 Motorsport Lamborghini driver, 16th. T3 Motorsport, this is their home race because the team is based in Dresden, just about 40 minutes away from here. And they'll be hoping for better luck than they had yesterday. Right, Phillip Ellis, remember, with success ballast on the car, but so too is Liam Lawson. Not as heavy as yesterday's race winner, but he's still carrying 18 kilograms. That's more weight to accelerate out of the corners, more weight to try and slow down on the brakes, more pressure on the tyres, and settles the car through the corners as well. So it does have a big effect, that, when you consider the tiny gaps between these drivers in terms of their lap times. Every hundredth of a second can make a difference. Well, Liam Lawson was a second clear at the end of the previous lap. I think he's had another decent run here. Check the gap as they come through. Over the line he goes. Been caught a little bit, but not by much. He's just under 9/10 of a second clear. Alex Albon still trying to find a way past Nico Muller as they make their way through turn 1. Esteban Moot has got Vincent Abril behind him as they run in 15th and 16th positions. Timo Glock having got ahead of Moot into 14th place in the second of the Rover Racing BMWs. It's been a change in the top 10 with Marco Wittmann through, and there is Alex Albon making his move on the inside of Nico Muller. So Alex gains a place. SB Hawkey going wheel to wheel with Dev Gore now, trying to get up the inside on the way out at turn 3 in the Lamborghini. Not yet quite able to do it. Just behind our own teammate Esteban Moot. So those two Lamborghinis trying to work their way through. 7/10 of a second, the gap. And another 10th gained back through sector 1 for Phillip Ellis. Fantastic tracking shot, this. The camera on top of the Land Rover, which is charging up the inner roads, following the cars to give you this great shot and a great sense of speed as the cars make their way through the infield. And what about the second sector? Well, Liam Lawson responds, the absolute best second sector time. So he lost a 10th on the start of the lap. He's gained 2 tenths back, though, in the middle of the lap. So starting to just edge away from Phillip Ellis. And then you've got Kelvin Van Der Linde, Daniel Hunkadea, Max Gott's fairly closely tied together just behind him. But Liam Lawson looking to control things over the line to complete another lap of the race. And the gap goes out to 1.3 seconds. Kelvin Van Der Linde, second now, moving up to second place with a 6/10 of a second advantage. And this is the charging Alex Albon, number 23. So Van Der Linde's moved up ahead of Ellis. A replay of the start. Max Buch's start is apparently under investigation. And there he is, coming out wide, you see, to the left of your picture in the white number 18 Team Muka Motorsport Mercedes. His start procedure is under investigation. Did he gain a place before the start of the race? That's being looked at. That's the onboard view from Max Buch's car. And this was the moment that Liam Lawson got the lead of the race. Set it up around the outside into turn 2. Then he knew he'd have the inside line for turn 3. He was squeezed all the way by Phillip Ellis. But this is commitment. Terrific move from Liam Lawson. On the curbs, there was a bit of contact. He had to squeeze back across to avoid the tyre stack, but he made it through. And there we had Timo Glock on the first lap of the race. Four-wheel drifting through the gravel and losing time and losing positions as a result of that. That was Arjun Miney with the onboard camera gaining a place after Timo ran wide. So Kelvin Van Der Linde, the new second place car, and has already begun to pull away from Phillip Ellis, who has now got Daniel Hunkadea breathing down his neck. So maybe this success ballast is starting to have its effect on Phillip's car. Although it doesn't seem to be affecting Liam Lawson too much. He's carrying 18 kilograms, Phillip 25. But Liam Lawson going strongly. What are the lap times like, though, compared to Kelvin Van Der Linde? The last lap was the best lap of the race for Kelvin, a 1:32.9. It's only a fraction quicker than the race leader, but it was quicker. And here we see a drive-through penalty, I'm afraid, for that start line infringement for Max Buch. So he's got a drive-through penalty to take in the race. That's going to probably scupper his chances of a points finish. And he might have to change his tactics now. And he might well be hoping for a safety car at some point to try and get himself back in the mix. But a drive-through penalty for this man, Max Buch. It's been going pretty well so far in the 2 races that he substituted for Gary Paffett with the Muka Motorsport team. There he is on track at the moment in 9th place, but he's going to pull into the pits. Minor will move up to 9th, and Alex Albon will move into 10th place. He's just got past Mike Rockefeller on the previous lap. And there it goes, Daniel Hunkadea. It's going to be the first of the pit stoppers by the looks of things. Very early pit stop, as early as you can do it, because the pit window doesn't open until lap 5. What about this gap from first to second? Looks like it's coming down again. Absolute best second sector for Kelvin Van Der Linde. It's another fastest lap of the race for the championship leader. 1 minute 32.7. At that time, he was 0.3 quicker than the race leader. Remember, he's got no success ballast on board. We've got a few of them coming in behind Daniel Hunkadea, because we've also got Vincent Abril, Dev Gore and Sophia Florsch, whose car, thankfully, seems to be working now. They are all coming in for very early pit stops. Although we saw the tyre degradation wasn't too bad yesterday for the drivers that had pitted after 9 or 10 laps. So Daniel Hunkadea has to wait to be released. That's cost him a second or two. And he's not best pleased. Apologies for the colourful language. Driver frustrated that he had to wait to get out of the pits, because Sophia Florsch's Abt sports car was, the Audi was coming in. So that will have cost him. And he'll be very frustrated indeed about that, having gone for this early stop. So the tyres were holding up yesterday, but they pitted much later, albeit, as I said, they had several laps behind the safety car yesterday, but certainly those tyres did seem to hold up well, as Kelvin Van Der Linde there was in the number 31 car having a look up the inside to try and gain a position. So they're going way out wide. It was Phillip Ellis. That's what cost him that second position. So he just went a little bit wide, just understeered. That might be, again, as a result of the success ballast, and that was how Kelvin Van Der Linde got himself through into second place and is now on this brilliant charge to try and catch his nearest championship rival, Liam Lawson. If they were to finish like this, and it's a long way to go, as Phillip Ellis comes in. Ellis coming in, Boot coming in, Albon and Esteban Moot at the back of the fields, or the back of the picture coming in. Right, tyres changed, it's mandatory stop. And Phillip released. Beautiful roar from the Mercedes as he goes out, has to adhere to the pit lane speed limit. And it's another good stop from the AF Corsa team, who've been demons at these changes so far. Esteban Moot comes out behind Alex Albon, a few seconds behind him, as they make their way to the end of this very long, very wide pit lane. There's Daniel Hunkadea coming through, who's at the moment, the first of the pit stoppers. Max Buch heading out now. Daniel Hunkadea should come through in the background of the picture, up to speed. And Phillip Ellis is going to come out just in front of Hunkadea. Incident in turn 2, under investigation. Can't give anything more specific than that. There's no details as to which car or cars they are looking at. So there's Moot, there's Gore, both been in the pits, and there's Sophia Florsch, who's also been into the pits. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cars that have pitted so far, almost half the field. Yes, what I was going to say is that Kelvin Van Der Linde has now come into the pits. It's from second place. Max Gotts has followed him from third, and Lucas Auer from fourth has come in as well. Arjun Maini also into the pits. So they're just coming in now. There is Arjun Maini, and at the front of his shot, Lucas Auer. Austrian getting his tyres changed by the Winward team. And number 3, Kelvin Van Der Linde. Just gets out in front of Max Gotts. So that was an important stop from the team. They keep him in front of the Mercedes, but only just luck. That was a good stop and a good in-lap, I reckon, from Max Gotts in the Team HR Team Mercedes. And he's poised, ready to pounce. He can't go yet, not until they cross the white line and get on the gas again. So there's Max Buch, who had this drive-through penalty coming through. And right there, Phillip Ellis in the background, Daniel Hunkadea, they come out in front of him. So it is Kelvin Van Der Linde just in front of Max Gotts. They came out of the pits together, and they've both managed to rejoin in front of Phillip Ellis, who's got the tyres fully up to speed and temperature now. So too Daniel Hunkerdea. So too there is Lucas Auer coming through in the 22 car. So Liam Lawson staying out for now, and he comes in.
Miney, pit cancel area.
So he's pitted just 1 lap later than his championship rival. Remember, Liam Lawson was leading the race by about 0.7 of a second from Kelvin Van Der Linde. So that's the race to keep an eye on. Got Sheldon Van Der Linde, Marco Wittmann and Esme Hawkey in the pits as well. Out goes the Ferrari. He stayed ahead of Sheldon Van Der Linde, who's only just stayed ahead. And that's Esme Hawkey coming in. She hasn't serviced the pit stop yet. Marco Wittmann is about to come out, though. He said to me yesterday, we've got to work on the qualifying setup. The car's okay in the race, but we can't get it working at the moment in qualifying. Right, wait to get on the throttle for Liam Lawson. It's a painful wait for you to get to that white line. And here they all come. This is going to be tight as he comes out of the pits. Is he going to retain the virtual race lead? I think he might just, but it's going to be oh so tight between him and Kelvin Van Der Linde. Van Der Linde already up to speed, remember. Here they go side by side. And he's also got Max Gotts behind him as well. Van Der Linde's there. Gotts has gone through as well. Liam Lawson still getting his tyres up to temp. Tucks in right behind them, but he has slightly fresher tyres than the 2 drivers that have just got past him. He's got to keep Phillip Ellis behind him now, though. That's going to be quite the task. Phillip in the Mercedes pushing on as they go through the left-hander at turn 4 onto this back straight then, leading up towards the right-hand sweeping wide hairpin at turn 5, and then down another straight which runs parallel to the first infield straight. And Liam Lawson has managed to fend off Phillip Ellis. And Mike Rockefeller leads. He hasn't pitted yet, nor has Timo Glock, nor has Nico Muller. Max Book came into the pits. He's had that drive-through penalty for incorrect grid position. Kelvin Van Der Linde, the leading pit stopper, is out ahead of Gotts, ahead of Lawson, and ahead of Ellis, who should be a net 4th once everything works itself out. So really good pit stop phase that for the Team AB Sports lineup for Kelvin Van Der Linde. From being a few tenths behind, he's up, he's ahead, and he's also got 1 car in between himself and Liam Lawson. If Liam were to win the race with Kelvin second, they'd be absolutely exactly tied on championship points, because it's 25 for a win and 18 for second, 7 the difference, and Lawson's 7 behind at the moment. But as it stands, he's got to overtake Max Gotts and he's got to overtake Kelvin Van Der Linde for that to happen. Plenty of time to go, though. Just under 40 minutes of the race still remaining. We've had fairly early pit stops, once again, even earlier than yesterday. So there you can see the drivers that have yet to pit. Number 9, Mike Rockefeller, has also got success ballast on the car, 15 kilograms after finishing with his first podium of the season yesterday. Saying that he could hold on to the top 2, hold on to the Mercedes and the Ferrari, but couldn't race with them. But he had worked very hard on getting to grips with this car. And you come to these types of GT3 cars and therefore having to get used to the nuances of it, and worked very hard to get a good qualifying result, which he certainly did do yesterday. Very nearly got pole position. Right, on board with Liam Lawson. What can he do from here? He's 7th at the moment, but you've got to remember the top 4 have all got to make other pit stops. Daniel Hunkerdea, what did that pause as he came out of the pits cost him? Because he's not very far behind Lawson and Ellis. Might he have been in front of them had he not had to wait for the Sophia Florsch Audi to come in. Bit unlucky that, but well, so he goes. And Max Gotts, having been right underneath the rear wing of Kelvin Van Der Linde as they came out of the pits, has started to just fall away from him now. So the last lap, Kelvin did a 132.1, a 132.2 for Gotts, which was a personal best, 132.2 for Lawson as well, also a personal best, 132.7 for Ellis. So he's the one in the lead group falling back. Hunkerdea is on the same sort of pace as him, 132.7, so about half a second away from the pace of Van Der Linde, Gotts and Lawson. So those 3 are starting to break away. 2nd and 3rd on the track at the moment, yet to make their pit stops are this pair, number 16, Timo Glock, and number 51, Nico Muller. And Nico, the quicker of the two at the moment. Phillip Ellis said to me yesterday, the one car you don't want to follow is a BMW because they're so big and wide, they're really, really difficult to get past. And we've seen Timo being not the easiest driver to overtake already this weekend. Is it Liam? I think Liam Lawson was stuck behind him for a little bit in yesterday's race. And it looks like Nico Muller can't get close enough to attack here as yet on the banking. Maybe I'll have a go with to get down to turn 2, but he needs to be a bit closer through turn 1. Great speed, great shot that as they whiz past the concrete wall. And turn off now through turn 2, through turn 3. It's Peter Muka to the left of the picture, the boss of Muka Motorsport. Winning his driver on, as we see, number 3, Kelvin Van Der Linde, continuing to push on. Last lap for Kelvin was another decent one, 132.3. And he's getting onto the tail now of Max Buch, who's been into the pits once to serve this drive-through penalty that he had for the start line incident. And he's much quicker. I want to get past the Mercedes ASAP, having just put a bit of a gap between himself and Matt Scott. So these two are 4th and 5th at the moment, but with others ahead to make their pit stops. And you can see Kelvin Van Der Linde much better on the brakes in the Audi. He's able to take a tighter line. Out wide goes the Mercedes, onto the grass with 2 wheels for Max Buch, and Kelvin Van Der Linde will be through. Can Matt Scott get through as well? He's certainly got a try here, and Max through around the outside on the other Max. Buch didn't make life too difficult for him, knowing that he's not really involved in this scrap. So Liam Lawson now needs to get past the Mercedes without being held up to try and get back onto the tail of the 2 ahead. We'll have to wait here, though, through this twisty section. Or will he? He has to look anyway. I don't think I've ever seen anybody overtake at that corner, but Liam Lawson had half a go, just showing his nose. And now accelerating out. He'll have to wait now until he gets down to turn 2. Replay of Max Buch running out wide. Coming out of turn 5. Seen a few do that. Timo Glock doing it early on in the race. That's the one that's been catching them out. That's what it looked like from Liam Lawson's point of view, the onboard camera. Face full of dust. It's a fairly hefty drop-off from the curb down to the gravel there, so a bumpy ride, then you thump over the grass and eventually get through onto the track, and Lawson's got through. So again, I think Max Buch not fighting too hard, knowing that he's not really involved in the lead battle. That was important for Lawson to get through as soon as he could. Rockefeller, Glock and Muller staying out. Their 1st, 2nd and 3rd, but yet to make their mandatory pit stop. Got Kelvin Van Der Linde 4th now, leading pit stopper. Max Scott's in 5th and Liam Lawson in 6th. They've all 3 of them already got their pit stops out of the way. And there, Max Buch sensibly staying out of the fight, letting Phillip Ellis through as well. It looks like he might be struggling to get another podium today, but if he can get more good points with a heavy car, I'll be pleased about that. And Max Buch just sensibly staying out of the way here. And look at this. Nico Muller has finally got alongside Timo Glock. Bit of paint swapping as they went side by side there. They're still side by side on the way through the banking. Who's going to be the bravest here? Out they come. 270 kilometres an hour. Still almost swapping wing mirrors. The pair of them. Muller's got the inside line. Glock has got his nose in front. Down towards the 150-metre board on the brakes. And Nico Muller should just go through. He slows the car down enough to make turn 2. Back all over him through turn 3 is Timo Glock, but the Audi ahead of the BMW runs a little bit wide through turn 4, and you can see the size difference there between the 2 cars, but the BMW will have to sit behind now. So Nico Muller up to 2nd, important move. His car obviously handling a little bit better now, but is this different strategy of running late into the race going to work for him? It's not about saving tyres anymore. It was the last race of the weekend, and he's got to make sure he gives himself enough time to use those fresh tyres at the end of the race as well. There's a replay then. This was great duelling between 2 really experienced DTM competitors. Gave each other just enough room. He could have just about got a piece of paper between them to start with, and then they actually made contact. Very hairy stuff. Timo Glock wasn't going to make that easy, was he? But Muller eventually getting through. Great battle. Right, so they're effectively your virtual top 3, top 4, top 5 coming through, because they've all got past Max Buch now. So Rockefeller Muller and Glock are the top three. They've got to make their pit stops. They're about 25, 26 seconds ahead, which is not enough. Needs to be more like 40 seconds, 45 seconds ahead, because this long run down the pit lane that you have here at the Lausitzring. So when the pit stops sort themselves out, it should be Kelvin Van Der Linde in the lead. He's fourth at the moment. Gotts will pick up second. Lawson will pick up third. Ellis fourth. Hunkerdea fifth. And Kelvin Van Der Linde sixth. That's how it should be. Should be once the pit stops sort themselves out. We've still got more than half the race to go, though. 32 minutes and 20 seconds plus 1 lap left on the clock. Track temperature just over 41 degrees. Phillip Ellis just about fending off Daniel Hunkerdea. I think Kelvin Vanderlinder's the one to watch in that group, though. In their over-racing BMW, pulls out of the slipstream. Is he going to have a go to dive down the inside of Hunkerdea? He thought about it, but he wasn't quite close enough. So through turns 2 and 3 they go. Their over-racing BMW of Kelvin Van Der Linde was on the podium here last year, looking strong at this phase of the race. And there's big brother Kelvin running in fourth at the moment, but the virtual leader here, how far clear is he of Max Gotts? The answer is just over a second. Max took back a few hundredths of a second on that previous run through, but not very much at all. Barely anything between them. And Kelvin Van Der Linde still trying to find a way past the number 8 Mercedes of Daniel Hunkerdea. Sheldon has got the better handling car at the moment. He's got the quicker car, but finding a way through in the infield is not easy. Has a little lunge on through turn 9. Got Glock in the pits, his teammate. And the rest of them are just coming over the start line now. Kelvin Van Der Linde, Max Gotts, Liam Lawson and company. So he's probably going to drop in somewhere just outside the top 10, I think. Still got a long way to go before he gets back on track, Timo Glock. It's such a long pit lane exit. But he'll have fresher tyres and he might be able to go on the attack. Somebody doing just that is Kelvin Van Der Linde. So Rockefeller stayed out, Muller has stayed out. They're the top 2. Kelvin Van Der Linde now up to 3rd place. And this is how close it got in that battle. The onboard camera showing Kelvin Van Der Linde almost making contact with the back of the Mercedes there. Maybe he did, actually. Slight bit of contact, just showing his nose. It's quite hard to get through there, though, and you don't want to get off the throttle because then that kills your acceleration all the way on that high-speed run through turns 1 and down toward turn 2, where you can overtake. So it's maybe better to sit back, have a bit of a run through there and try and make the move at turn 2. Easier said than done. But Sheldon just getting a bit frustrated at the moment in their over-racing BMW because there's no way past the man from Barcelona, Daniel Hunkerdea, fending him off for now. Phillip Ellis has just begun to edge away from them in the 57 Mercedes, and that's probably because they're holding each other up a little bit in their own battle. So it's good news for Phillip at the moment, who's a net 4th. But only about a second or so behind 3rd place. Right, tyres being readied. Now, who is that for? Liam Lawson, looking good, in control at the moment. Kelvin Van Der Linde there. Then Max Gotts, and then it's Liam Lawson. And Kelvin Van Der Linde almost onto the tail that time of Daniel Hunkerdea, but Daniel's braking really late into turn 2, making life very hard for Sheldon to get past. No doubt about it, Sheldon's the quicker of the 2 at the moment, but Hunkerdea using all of his experience, the ex-Formula 3 European champion, to keep the BMW at bay, not making any mistakes, not leaving any opportunities. Great defensive driving. He's got a bit deep, though, into the right-hander at turn 5. Car hopping and skipping about on the bumps of the Lausitzring. Tidy enough on the exit, though. Sheldon tempted into another move. Yes, looks at the inside. No, door closes again. Keeps on showing his nose just to try and put Hunkerdea off his line. Through turns 7 and 8 they go, up to turn 9, then through turn 10, back onto the banking to round out another lap. just got to sit tight here and now try and accelerate quicker and harder, but Mercedes just edging away a little bit there by a length or so. Keep an eye on the mirrors as well, because Lucas Auer is looking fairly ominous in his Mercedes. Kelvin Vanderlinder's just done a 1:33.0, 2/10 quicker than Max Gott's. He's on a 1:33.2, 1:33.2 for Lawson as well, so that gap stays the same. And also on a 1:33.2, Phillip Ellis, who's found a bit of pace now, a bit of speed. Lucas Auer is the quickest driver on track at the moment, 1:33.1 for him, which is why he's getting onto the tail of this battle on board with Kelvin Van Der Linde. Currently battling with Daniel Hunkerdea for 7th place. But it's a net 5th once the pit stops happen, and Hunkerdea finally goes wide. He's got to take the chance now, Kelvin Van Der Linde. He doesn't need to be asked twice, and through he goes. Can he get the line, though, on the way into the right-hander? Hunkerdea knows it's a right-hander coming up. He's a bit further back. Is he going to lunge back up the inside? Of course he is. He's going to have a go anyway. Still side by side as they turn through the right-hander at 5. Look at Lucas Auer. He's right there with them. Marco Wittmann coming after them as well. Great tracking shot this, but it looks like Kelvin Van Der Linde has just done enough to edge clear of Daniel Hunkerdea. Great battle between the pair of them for 4 or 5 laps, but eventually Van Der Linde gets through, as he needed to do, really, because now he's got to try and bridge the gap to the cars ahead. He's been losing time to them while he was behind Daniel Hunkerdea. Daniel closing the door now on Lucas Auer. As I say, he's been quickest driver out there, and Marco Wittmann has joined the party. He's right onto the tail of the group here, always fighting, never giving up. Marco Wittmann, the 2014-2016 champion, the man from the south of Germany, looking like he's going to be in the points again today. Still got 26 minutes to go. It's a terrific racing so far here at the Lausitzring, and this one's been highly entertaining as well. So Mike Rockefeller leads in the Audis, 3.2 seconds clear of Nico Muller. Nico's just done his personal best lap, though, a 1:33.2, and that was half a second quicker than Rockefeller. They've both got to make their pit stop still, so they are going to drop down the order as Lucas Auer gets Marco Wittmann coming alongside him now. Surely he's not going to go around the outside. He might do. That'll give him the inside Liam Lawson-like on the way to turn 3, and it's almost a carbon copy of the move that we saw at the start of the race for the lead. But this time it's Marco Wittmann on Lucas Auer, the German ahead of the Austrian, moving himself up into 9th place. Terrific move that. Set it up nicely. So Lucas Auer has got sort of balked by that battle that was happening ahead of him, ends up losing a place. Here's a replay. That was a sweet move from Marco. Through he went, and as ever a fair driver, Lucas Auer gave him the room on the way into turn 3. So more good overtaking. That's a replay of Kelvin Van Der Linde's move on Daniel Hunkerdea. That was just as Danny just twitched there under braking, just understeered through the corner, and the door eventually opened up for Sheldon. There's your race leader for now. Lights ablaze for number 9, the 2013 champion, Mike Rockefeller for Team Abt Sportsline. 2.8 seconds clear of Nico Muller, who's coming after him at a fair old rate of knots now. I think he's struggling on the tyres, Mike Rockefeller, and that would suggest that he might be coming in on the next lap, because he's lost a second over the last 2 laps to Nico Muller. He's got the gap down to 2.8 seconds. Muller, who's demonstrated already once this weekend that he's able to nurse the tyres and avoid too much tyre degradation. He's lapping quickly. Remember, he's got pretty old tyres. He's just done a 1:33.3, but the likes of Van Der Linde and Gotts are only a couple of tenths quicker than him. That's on pretty old tyres now for Nico Muller, so more excellent driving from the Swiss. Through the first sector, he gained another 3/10 on Rockefeller and another 1/10 or 1/10.5 through the middle sector. So unsurprisingly, Mike Rockefeller turns left and heads for the pits. So Nico Muller is going to stay out. He's going to pick up the lead of the race for now in the 51 Team Rosberg Audi. Through here will go. And expect some fireworks in the last 20 minutes or so from Mike Rockefeller once he's got these fresh tyres on, because we know he's quick here, having finished 3rd yesterday. So Rockefeller making his way down this very, very, very long pit lane. That pit lane speed limit to them will feel like 2 miles an hour, I think. It's 50 kilometres an hour, the pit lane speed limit. We're used to doing 270 kilometres an hour. It'll feel absolutely pedestrian. Good stop.
And Kelvin is leading the race. Kelvin is leading.
So Rockefeller going back out. one amp sports line, Audi comes in, and that gives the lead back to another, because Kelvin Van Der Linde now picks up the lead of the race. And Mike Rockefeller waits and waits and waits, going to rejoin behind Vincent Abril, so he'll be 13th, I think. So he's got a good chance of some points still. Yeah, there he is, tucking in just ahead of Esteban Moot, between Abril and Esteban Moot. So just outside the points. Replay of Esme Hawkey getting busy and firing down the inside of Dev Gore. Good move that from Esme. Ex-W Series racer from a couple of years ago. And that year she combined W Series single-seater international championship with her first season of the Porsche Carrera Cup. Last year, taking the Pro-Am category with a terrific season, supporting the British Touring Car Championship. Before that, she raced Porsche Caymans in GT Cup, so already building up a good amount of experience. Younger brother Ethan, a very good racer as well. We come up through Ginetta Juniors in the last couple of years. He's racing now Porsches as well in the UK, racing in Porsche Caymans, and successfully so. He's one of the championship frontrunners. So Esme Hawkey having a much better day than yesterday. That good move on Dev Gore, the American who struggled a bit here this weekend on his first visit to the Lausitzring. First visit, to my knowledge at least, for the American to the Lausitzring. The car has generally been struggling though, hasn't it, with Nico Muller having his woes as well for Team Rosberg. So there he's the number 4, Max Scott's car. Number 3, Kelvin Van Der Linde. The only driver ahead of him that has already made a pit stop. Muller leads, 22 seconds clear, but he's got to make this pit stop, and he's going to drop back probably just outside the top 10 once he comes in. But when is Nico going to come in? He's got to use the tyres to his advantage. He's got to be able to use those new tyres to make some positions back up. He's got to give himself enough time to do that as well. There's no use doing it on the last lap, really. So how far is he clear of 10th place? Arjun Maini is 10th at the moment, 34 seconds behind. So yeah, I think he'll rejoin. Well, Rockefeller's 13th. He'll probably be looking at rejoining in about 13th, 12th, 13th, 14th place, something like that, when he does finally make his pit stop. Right, on board with Arjun Maini, looking for his first points finish in the DTM. Been really quick all weekend long. Troubles at the start of the race yesterday, but he's been qualifying really well, and the 23-year-old from Bangalore has now got the Thai British driver, ex-Formula 1 racer Alex Albon, breathing down his neck. Alex has been amassing plenty of points in the races. Remember, he's getting used to GT cars. He's never driven these type of cars before. Nothing with a roof on, really. Even though his dad, Nigel, was a very successful touring car racer and Porsche Carrera racer, it's always been single-seaters so far in the career for Alex Albon, so he's getting used to these types of cars. Hasn't qualified always that well, but he's raced very well so far. 3rd place in race 1 after being promoted up onto the podium from way down the grid, and he's had a 3rd, a 7th and a 5th, so that's why he's 4th in the championship. Alex battling to get himself in the points at the moment, though. He should be in the points once Nico Muller makes his pit stop, so these two are 10th and 11th, but they should be 9th and 10th once Muller comes in. The AlphaTauri backed AF Corsa Ferrari looks a little bit quicker than the Get Speed Mercedes at the moment. So everybody watching on with 19 minutes to go. Kelvin Van Der Linde, 1.6 seconds clear now of Max Scott's. Max took a little bit of time out of him through the first sector and another half a tenth through the second sector. So we'll keep an eye on that gap, which is just started to come down a bit. But Alex Albon trying to find his way past Arjun Maini now. Here's the rear-facing camera, and good exit speed here for the Mercedes. So the Ferrari drops back again. Alex coming back at him at under braking though. Closing back up to the Mercedes, trying to slingshot down the inside, halfway alongside. Is there going to be contact? Likely, yes. But Arjun just holds his line, holds his nerve, and stays ahead as they come through turn 10. But that was a karting type lunge that from Alex, but it almost worked. Saw Liam Lawson trying a similar move early on. The Ferrari obviously very quick through that last sector. And now he'll have to sit tight through turn 1. He's able to take a slightly lower, tighter line to the curbs. Closing now as they head down towards the braking zone for turn 2. Alex, I reckon he's going to have a go here. Arjun knows what's coming, so he holds the inside line, puts the Mercedes on the racing line, makes it as wide as he can, but look at the Ferrari coming down the inside. Alex Albon surely is going to get through. Down he goes under braking on the way to turn 2. He covers it off through turn 3, and he's got through. So Alex Albon ahead of Arjun Mining. Arjun coming back at him on the way through turn 4, but the Ferrari is through. Nice move that from quite a long way back. Brave stuff from Alex. Here's a replay. He got the toe, of course. A big toe you give down this straight. And then he braked oh so late into the corner. I think the most impressive part was the fact that he got round the corner when he braked that late, but he did. And you can see Arjun fighting the wheel because he brakes at the last possible millisecond as well. So another great duel. Fantastic racing we've had so far this season. I'm loving the new DTM era. It's given us plenty of entertainment. Well, what's Nico Muller's times are starting to go off the ball now. 1 minute 33.9, so I thought soon he's going to make that pit stop call. Meanwhile, this is Vincent Abril in the yellow HRT Mercedes, 12th. Mike Rockefeller, who's on pretty fresh tyres, 13th, trying to come through, trying to get himself up in the points. It's Thomas Biermeier from Abt Sportsline, the team principal. His man, Mike Rockefeller, trying to get in the points. His other man, Kelvin Van Der Linde, looking like he might just get the win. Might. Long way to go still. Right, Vincent Abril has got the Mercedes lights ablaze underneath his rear wing. And this is where Mike Rockefeller has got to try and get through. He can't into turn 2. So he's probably going to have to wait now until he gets to the end of the lap. Or is he? No, he's not, because there is the opportunity. There is the gap. The Audi draws alongside. On the outside line, he's going to have to cover it off on the way into the right-hander at turn 5, but he's done so, and that's why the man has been a champion in the DTM. All right, Nico Muller has come into the pits, so the race leader in. See him underneath the commentary box. He's probably going to come out in something like around about 12th place, but it'll be fireworks after that. Car does seem to be running better today. Damage limitation, really. If he can walk away with a few points at least, it'll cheer him up after yesterday's disappointments, but tough weekend for him. We're hoping that the car is more reactive to the Zolder circuit. Right.
Okay. So you will be slightly behind the Lambo for Mood.
Right, that's Alex Albon and Arjun Miney coming through. So he's going to be out of the points here. Not be too far out of the points. It's Rocky coming through as well. And Abril and Mood. Guy's got to sit and watch them all come past. Right, finally he can pull the trigger and head out. And he's going to rejoin just in front of Timo Glock. So 14th, I think. Or is he? No, just behind him, actually. Can't get out in front of Glock either. So that's not worked out really that well, has it, for Nico Muller? And Buka's come into the pits as well to make his stop, having already been in to serve his drive-through penalties, now made his mandatory pit stop on the tyre change. So Maximilian Buk rejoining as our last pit stopper. Everybody's been in now. This is, of course, his second visit to the pits. And he's got, look how long you have to wait to pull the trigger. It's agony. Agony for the drivers, but there you go. It is what it is for them. So, Kelvin Vanderlinder will inherit the lead of the race. Back to where he was before it all happened. Well, effectively anyway. Liam Lawson was in front of him before the pit stops, but 1.8 seconds clear now of Max Gotts. Max, in turn, is about the same distance clear of Liam Lawson. Phillip Ellis is hanging on to Liam Lawson, but he's about a second behind. Sheldon Van Der Linde is maybe the one to keep an eye on now. Yeah, it was 3/10 quicker than Phillip Ellis last time around. So Sheldon Van Der Linde in 5th place, looking good, closing up the gap. Oh, what's that? Number 3, Kelvin Van Der Linde, slow, dropping back. What's happened? He's got an issue. What's the issue? He's already lost the lead of the race to Max Gotts. He's got Liam Lawson, his championship rival, past him, and the car's still not working.
Car switched off, man.
Copy.
The bleep, bleep, bleep car switched off. Oh dear. Again, apologies for the feisty language, but understandable, I guess, when you've just seen the lead of the race snatched away from you. So it's back up to speed now, I think. The car just switched off, he said. There you go, yeah. Bet Max Gotts couldn't believe his luck. He just drove past. Liam Lawson getting through as well. Well, that's a huge worry. Lost all speed, all drive, but it has got going again now. Just be hoping it doesn't happen again. So that has given the lead to Max Gotts, and it has given us the top two of the championship running together. How about this? Liam Lawson, second in the championship, second in the race now, and you're on board with Kelvin Van Der Linde, the championship leader. So if it stays like this, second place and Liam Lawson, that is going to be 18 points. Third place, 15 points for Kelvin Van Der Linde. The gap between them coming into this race was 7 points, so it's going to come down to 4 points. The gap in the championship, that's not very much at all. I mean, you don't need to be a great mathematician to work that out. So it's been, all in all, if it stays like this, a very good weekend for Liam Lawson, even if he doesn't walk away with a race win. And there'll be 3 podiums out of 4 as well. Only missing out on a podium potentially at Monza, or at least a good result at Monza after the contact he had with Esteban Moots fairly early on in the race. This is the battle for 4th place between Phillip Ellis in the blue and white Team Winward Mercedes and the Rover Racing BMW. Rover Racing, which started out as a one-man race team, or one-man band officially, but has grown and grown over the years. Michael Zeyer founded it back in 1995, the original company, and it became a race team. These days it has more than 300 employees. Runs it with his daughter Alexandra Coleman and Hans-Peter Nondorf, the team principal. Right, look at this. Nose to tail between the top two in the championship. Kelvin Van Der Linde has got the bit between his teeth. He's been a bit wound up by the technical glitch that cost him the race lead and dropped him down to 3rd place. He doesn't want to lose any points to Liam Lawson. I think he recognises that he's a big, big championship rival for him. And now he's trying to get his way back ahead. We've also got another Van Der Linde on the attack, because Sheldon is all over the back of Phillip Ellis in the battle for 4th place. Right, out of turn 1 they come, down towards turn 2. Just over 10 minutes plus 1 lap to go. And it's all fireworks now in this race. 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, all together, all in the same shot. The race leader, though, he's gone. Max Gotts, 3.8 seconds clear. Never been a race winner in the DTM. He's looking for his maiden victory. And he'll continue, if it stays like this, the trend of different race winners in every race of the 2021 season. He was looking really relaxed and calm and upbeat and positive at the start of the race on the grid when Verena interviewed him, and he's certainly carried that spirit through. A likeable German in the lead of the race. He'll know he's been a bit lucky about it, though, because of Kelvin Van Der Linde's technical issue. But Van Der Linde now trying to find his way back through. He goes right, he goes left again. Looks down the inside. Oh, it's tight. Is it going to be contact? Not quite. But this is great racing. Liam Lawson holding his line in the Ferrari. Kelvin Van Der Linde is throwing the kitchen sink at him. And the 19-year-old now coming under attack. On the grass goes Kelvin Van Der Linde to try and create a gap. He's on the outside. He kicks up the dust. Liam Lawson's not having any of this. He puts his elbows out, stands tall, and holds on to 2nd place. Kelvin Van Der Linde is throwing everything at this. Surely this is going to bring Ellis and Sheldon Van Der Linde back closer to them. Yes, it is. And also Hunkedaer and Wittmann and Auer getting closer to them as well. So huge, huge scrap here with just under 9 minutes to go. How many of these battles are we going to have this year? Lawson and Van Der Linde. Right, great battle. The battle which came about because of that technical issue for Kelvin Van Der Linde a few laps ago. Let's see if we can find out what the cause of that was.
And I'm here with Thomas Biermeier from Sports Upline. And Sportsline, sorry. Thomas, how exactly can that happen, and what exactly happened to Kelvin? I mean, it's a big shame leading the race and then all of a sudden something switching off. What happened?
The car switched off. We don't know why this happened. We don't know. He did a completely reset at the back straight, and now the car is going again, so we don't know exactly what happened.
But obviously Kelvin is a fighter, and it's very exciting at the moment because hopefully he can go to the front, right?
This is the reason why I'm watching, because we are fighting for position now, and I think he will overtake him, hopefully, yes.
All right, crossing our fingers. Thomas, thank you so much. Back to you.
Fair play to Thomas. He's trying to watch the screen and do an interview at the same time. He can't, like the rest of us, take his eyes off it. But thanks, Verena, for the update. That's Thomas Biermeier, boss of Sportsline. They don't know what caused that glitch, the car switching off, but here we got this terrific battle for second place. Now, while we heard from Thomas, we saw Marco Wittmann getting ahead of Daniel Hunkedea. So Wittmann has got ahead of Auer and he's got ahead of Hunkedea, who's now up to 6th place. Another great gritty performance from the German. Team radio from Lucas Auer, but not all that clear. Lucas trying as well to get past Hunkedea after the Spaniard was put on the back foot by that overtake from Wittmann, but he didn't quite get through. So Wittmann 6th, Hunkedea 7th, Auer 8th, Albon 9th, Rockefeller back into the points in 10th, Nico Muller's 12th. Trying to find a way past Arjun Maini next, and there's Phillip Ellis taking a defensive line on the way to turn 2 to try and keep Kelvin Van Der Linde behind him. The car dances around though. He's struggling for grip. Kelvin Van Der Linde of the BMW is all over him, tyres screeching and squealing, and he gets on the gas now. The tyres protesting in agony. He's forcing it through here, trying to get around the outside. He's got to go around the outside now. He's committed to the move, but he's got to keep an eye on the mirrors because Marco Wittmann is there to steal his own position if he's not careful. Can't get through there, switches back to the inside on the way out of turn 5. Phillip Ellis keeps him behind for now, ... But there's more to come, I suspect. Liam Lawson is still fending off Kelvin Van Der Linde for second place as they run through the shot. Then it's Ellis in 4th, Kelvin Van Der Linde in 5th place. And in 6th place, Marco Wittmann. He's bringing Hunkedea and Auer with him as well. What a great battle this is. Dare I say, best race of the season so far. We've had some absolute crackers already. 6 minutes to go. Stop the clock. We want to keep this going. It's brilliant. Not having any fun, really, although I'm sure he is Max Gotts, because he's just driving around on his own at the moment in the lead of the race. He won't care about that. He'll care about the clock running down as quickly as it can for him to get this maiden race victory. But all the fun and games are happening behind. Kelvin Van Der Linde, he suspects, has not yet given up on that second place. The body language of the car tells you everything you need to know about how determined he is to get past Liam Lawson. But Liam, cool as you like, fended him off. When he was left, he was right, he was on the grass, he was on the curbs, but he wouldn't let him past. Kelvin Van Der Linde having this very, very good battle with Phillip Ellis. Good, clean racing from the pair of them. These two young charges. The former Audi TT Cup champion and yesterday's race winner, Phillip Ellis, doing another fine job here. Remember, he's a key championship contender now as well, up to 3rd in the standings after yesterday's win and this morning's pole position. And with the 25 kilograms of success ballast on board, he's doing a really good job in 4th place. It was 4th yesterday for the driver with the heaviest car, Kelvin Van Der Linde, although he was only about 9/10 of a second away from a podium in the end. But it does have that sort of effect as Kelvin Van Der Linde feigns a look down the inside, just showing his nose, just trying to unsettle the Ferrari ahead up towards the right-hander at turn 7 they go. Slowing the car down for turn 8. Left-hander at turn 9 coming up.
Retire the car.
Right rear puncture for Esteban Moot, the Lamborghini.
Try to go offline and try to go very, very slow back to the box. You're close to the box.
I'm not sure he's going to make it back to the box, is he? Back to the pits. Oh dear, poor old Esteban Moot not having much luck at all this weekend, T3 Motorsport. So he retires from the race as Max Gotts continues to pull away from the huge battle that's going on behind. He's 5.6 seconds clear now. Moot's getting out of the way, but Moot's trying to get back to the pits if he can. Liam Lawson has also got a heavy car, remember, 18 kilograms on board the Ferrari. Still doing a good job here to keep Kelvin Van Der Linde behind him. Which one of the Van Der Lindes is going to make the move first then? Is it going to be Kelvin for 2nd or Sheldon for 4th place? Both been frustrated. Especially, I guess, Sheldon. He's been there a long time now behind Phillip Ellis in the Mercedes. And well done to Esteban Moot, the Belgian driver. The 19-year-old has very sensibly and cautiously got the car back to the pits. So that will negate any kind of worries about a safety car. Got Arjun Maini 11th with Nico Muller on his tail now, just 2 tenths between them. That's the battle for 11th place. But then as another 8 tenths up the road to get into the points for Nico Muller. Holding on to the final championship point currently in 10th place is the teammate to Liam Lawson, who you're looking at here, Alex Albon in 10th place. 3 minutes plus 1 lap to go. The longer you sit behind a driver, the harder it gets to get past them, because they know what's coming. They know where to defend, where to put the car, where you're a little bit stronger. And the element of surprise starts to go when you're the driver on the attack. And I think that's been the case here for Liam Lawson and Phillip Ellis. They've been able to work out where best to defend the longer these battles have gone on. Lucas Sauer getting very close to the tail of Daniel Hunkedaer, and Mike Rockefeller coming after the pair of them. Remember, he's got much fresher tyres. And he was 9 tenths of a second quicker on the previous lap, so Mike Rockefeller is probably on for a late charge here, I suspect. Lights ablaze for him. Daniel Hunkedaer taking the inside line. Lucas Sauer trying to get through, can't. Hunkedaer holds on to 7th, and Mike Rockefeller gets himself onto the back of them now. These fresher tyres in 9th place. Surely, when he's 8, 9 tenths of a second a lap quicker, he's going to be able to come through and at least pick up a few more points and places. Good drive this from Rocky, making the strategy work. Much lower rate of attrition today as well. We had so half a dozen cars didn't finish yesterday, but Esteban Muth, the first retiree from the race. Good to see Sophia Florsch's car working now, as well as Nico Muller has found his way past Arjumani, and now about to find his way past Alex Albon. Through he goes, and that's into the points for Nico. He needed that. He's giving it full aggression, and it's only going to be for a point or two, but he's done it as Kelvin Vanderlinder almost pushes the Mercedes through turn 10. But still, Phillip Ellis stands tall, stands strong, stays in front. Minute and 17 seconds left on the clock, accelerating out now. And Kelvin Van Der Linde's got a bit closer to the tail of Liam Lawson as well through the final sector. So they go through this battle for second, not quite, but almost nose to tail. They've pulled away from that battle for 4th, so Kelvin is free to go on the attack now. He hasn't got to worry about defending from Phillip Ellis. Not that he really ever had to do that. And Mike Rockefeller's still at the back of the queue in 9th place, still hasn't found a way through. Muller trying to catch up after them as well. Holding that line again on the way into the turn in 4th place is Phillip Ellis. The blue and white Mercedes staying ahead of Kelvin Van Der Linde's yellow and white number 31 BMW. This is on board with Sheldon coming out of turn 4, heading on to that first midfield straights. Race leader through. 2nd Lawson, 3rd Kelvin Van Der Linde, 4th, but with the car more and more understeery. The Mercedes is Phillip Ellis, struggling to get it turned in now. The car's getting wider and wider through the corners. More and more gaps are being left open. And surely Kelvin Van Der Linde is going to be tempted to go for one of those. He said this is our best chance of getting a win here this weekend. Knew the car would be well suited to the Lausitzring, but hasn't quite worked out for him. And look at this, Kelvin Van Der Linde has got himself right underneath the rear wing of Liam Lawson now. There's Max Gotts coming out of the final turn with a 5.2 second lead, just bringing the car home now. And Max Gotts on course.
Bring it home, last lap.
For a first win in the DTM. Just bring it home, says the engineer, which he is. He's on the last lap of the race now, Max Gotts. And here comes Kelvin Van Der Linde showing his nose all the way into turn 1. He was never trying to overtake there, just trying to unsettle Liam Lawson. But Liam is not to be budged from 2nd place. Kelvin Van Der Linde still trying to find a way past Phillip Ellis. Also keeping an eye on the mirrors with Marco Wittmann's BMW getting ever bigger. And here we go on the brakes. Liam Lawson's safe for now. Gets through turn 2, through turn 3. Kelvin Van Der Linde all over Phillip Ellis. Like an angry rash, but he just cannot find his way past. Great defensive driving from Ellis. He's not over-defended, he's not blocked, he's not weaved. He just hasn't made any mistakes. He's been under huge, huge pressure all the way through. And you can say the same of Liam Lawson in the second half of the race. Kelvin Van Der Linde, you'll see this is the win that got away after that glitch. Car just randomly switching itself off on the way out of turn 1, dropping in from 1st to 3rd, when it looked like the win might be a distinct possibility. Instead, though, it's going to be Max Gotts that will pick up his first ever win in the DTM. This is his 3rd season of DTM, and he's just bringing the car home now. It's going to be an absolutely delighted Max Scotts, a delighted Team HRT. Out of the final corner, he now comes. He roars for the line, he flashes the lights, and Max Scotts wins in the DTM for the first time.
Really, really well. Well done, well done. Nice race. Great job.
Lawson second, Kelvin Van Der Linde third, Ellis fourth, Kelvin Vanderlinder fifth, and then Wittmann sixth, Tankadea seventh, Rockefeller eighth, Auer ninth, and Muller battling just to get that one championship point in 10th place. What a great race. Fantastic stuff. Max Scotts was there in second when Kelvin Van Der Linde had his problem, there to pick up his misfortune, and from there on in, he never looked back. And Liam Lawson doing a great job to keep Kelvin Van Der Linde behind. Kelvin fired up, as you can imagine, after that technical gremlin. There was that great sequence where Kelvin was on the grass, on the curbs, kicking up the dust, trying everything to get past the Ferrari, but he couldn't quite do it. And that turned out to be his best chance. So Kelvin Van Der Linde will pick up 15 points instead of the 25 he thought he was going to get. Liam Lawson will pick up 18. And by my maths, the gap of the championship at the top of the table will just be 4 points after 4 races of the DTM. So there you go, another race where I'm looking forward to seeing Max Scotts getting out of the car, because he's usually got a smile on his face anyway, and you can imagine just how overjoyed he's going to be. He might be a bit emotional about this as well. First couple of seasons in DTM, he never had the most competitive car, and the best he could muster was a 4th place finish in Moscow, but he's already picked up his first podium. He's now picked up his first win. So I've had wins for Liam Lawson, Kelvin Van Der Linde, Phillip Ellis, and Max Scotts now. 4 wins from 4 races, and that's what we want to see, a wide open competition as a neutral. Here, a replay of the moment that Max Scotts tapped the checkered flag all on his own to win by 4.6 seconds. We haven't heard from him yet. From his engineer we heard on the team radio. I wonder if he's maybe a bit speechless, Max Scotts. He's got the slow down lap to gather his thoughts, get himself together and get the emotions in check, but they'll be released again as soon as he gets out of the car. Great shot, that. Reflected in the sunglasses. Cool stuff from Team HRT. Had a troubled day yesterday. Struggled in qualifying. I remember after the pit stop, the wheel became detached. Became detached. He didn't finish the race yesterday, but motorsport is all about highs and lows, and today, thankfully for Max, was a real high. Confirmation of the results. Got Lawson and Van Der Linde on the podium. From Phillip Ellis 4th, Kelvin Vanderlinder 5th, Marco Wittmann 6th, Daniel Tankadea 7th, Mark Rockefeller 8th, Lucas Auer and Nico Muller 9th and 10th. Alex Albon out of the points for the first time this season. Arjun Maini really thought he was going to get some points this weekend. It's a pretty good drive to 12th place, but he's shown very good speed this weekend. Gives it a huge pat on the roof, the car. Almost caves the metalwork in. That is one happy man. Absolutely chuffed with that. I'll go down as his best win so far in his career, and he's had plenty of them in various categories. Helmet about to come off, and that's great to see. Kelvin Van Der Linde, ever the sportsman, who must be feeling gutted with the bad luck that he had. He's the first to go over and congratulate Max Scotts. Max will know there was some sort of issue, because he was right behind it when it happened. But Kelvin Van Der Linde is still going to be your championship leader after the first 2 weekends. There's the replay. Yes, he says. Climbs up onto the roof, and he'll replay that moment, that shot in his head, for years and years to come. And he won't want it to be the last time this happens either. Do you know what? I don't think it will be. Max Scotts, a delighted race winner then. There, everybody gathered round. And here he is, helmet off. Told you he'd be smiling. Didn't have to be a brain surgeon to work that one out, did you? So, chuffed, absolutely chuffed. He's a bit calmer than I thought he would be, actually. I thought he'd be all over the place, but there's Liam Lawson. Well, job done in terms of points scored this weekend. He always wants to win. There's 3 podiums out of 4 races, 1 win, 2 seconds, and he is right up there in the championship. Crucially, keeping Kelvin Van Der Linde behind him. There you go. That's great sportsmanship. Big smile on the face. They enjoyed that. Racing hard, but full respect to each other. They really, really enjoyed that battle. I think Liam is really enjoying his time in the DTM. Ultimately, I think his focus is going to be on single-seaters and, from his point of view, hopefully a career path to Formula One. But you know, I'm very happy to have him with us in the DTM this year. So, championship, there you go. Oh, blimey, my maths was right for once. 4 points. Kelvin Van Der Linde, 69. Liam Lawson, 65. Phillip Ellis, 48 in third. Max Scott up to fourth now on 46 points. That's what a win can do. And Alex Albon, who finished for the first time this season out of the points, fifth on 31 points in the championship. So, rest of the finishers, Alex Albon was 11th, Arjun Maini 12th, Timo Glock 13th, Vincent Abreu 14th, Sophia Florsch 15th. Be relieved just to get some laps in after the troubles that she had with the car yesterday and this morning. And then Esme Hawkey coming back from that horrible crash yesterday, 16th, Dev Gore 17th, Max Book with his drive-through penalty 18th. And the one non-finisher was Esteban Muti, picked up that right rear puncture in the race. So we're going to get ready for our top three drivers and winning team representative to be called up to the podium. And first to go is Kelvin Van Der Linde. Third place, not what he wanted, but it's more good points. And it just about keeps him in front in the championship. From this man, Liam Lawson, second place, another podium for the 19-year-old. And a terrific battle with Kelvin Van Der Linde. Great to see them both high-fiving each other as well, or fist-bumping at least, after enjoying that scrap. That's what racing's all about, isn't it? Hard, but fair. Your winner, though, a wanted man, is Max Scott. He's got a fan club here. He's a race winner, but the winning team that took him to that victory represented on the podium as well, Team HRT. They'll get the trophy, the team's trophy on the right. And Max Scott now is brought forward onto the top step of the podium, congratulated by his rivals. Hugs from the team, and on to the top step of the DTM. So, with the trophies there, cap off. It's now time for the German national anthem. A hugely proud moment for Maximilian Götz. The German national anthem plays here, the first German round of the 2021 championship. The 35-year-old from Oschenfurt in Bavaria is now about to hoist aloft the winner's trophy. He's given the nod, he picks up the trophy, and he raises it above his head. Max Götz, back in 2003, a Formula BMW champion as a youngster, then a GT Masters champion, a Blancpain Series champion, and now a DTM race winner. And all three of the drivers on the podium, look, have taken a win so far this season now. Champagne time. Max Götz, he's aiming and firing, but he hasn't got splattered yet. I think he's got the best of Kelvin and Liam on the podium there, in more ways than one. Face mask off, time for a swig. He's foamed up a bit, he's made a right mess of that. The suit's sticky, he won't care. He's a winner, job done. And that's motorsport in a nutshell. One day you're down, the next you're up. Sometimes it's the other way around, and there are usually more downs than ups. But the highs more than make up for it. Max Götz now adds his name to the list of championship contenders and race winners. What a season this is turning out to be. And there's plenty more where that came from. Next time out, we're going to head to Zolder on the 7th and 8th of August to Belgium in a couple of weeks' time for rounds 5 and 6 of the championship, and later in August to the Nürburgring. We've still got the Red Bull Ring, Assen and Hockenheim to come as well on the calendar. Verena Oxy is getting ready to catch up with some of the drivers after the podium celebrations down there on the track and down in front of the podium. So Kelvin Van Der Linde coming home in 3rd place. Let's hear from Verena now, just in front of the podium.
I've got Kelvin here, who really did an amazing job in regards to what happened. You started in 4, and then you were leading the pack, and then all of a sudden, what, your car just switched off? What happened?
Yeah, that was literally what happened. The car turned off. Yeah, it's probably the biggest nightmare you have as a race driver, doing 250 and your car switches off. But luckily I had this, well, luckily or unluckily, I had this problem 2 weeks ago in another race, so I knew exactly what to do. Had to reset everything, and by that time I lost 2 places. But still, lucky to still be on the podium. It could have been a lot worse. So.
Absolutely, and I think coming from P4 to P3 after that disaster is something you can be really proud of. And hopefully, will you guys be able to extinct that problem, so you're not going to have that again, hopefully?
We'll make sure of that, definitely. Can't afford any more of those, but no, we'll enjoy the podium. I think after P4 this morning, it's already a step forward. That's always a good thing. Still leading the championship, I believe. Not 100% sure, but...
yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so... Gonna enjoy that tonight, and then we see where we go.
Absolutely. All right, thank you so much, Kelvin. And now we're gonna grab Liam over there. Hopefully we'll get him right here. Obviously not. A lot of handshaking to do here, but I'll try my best. So yeah, back to the commentator for the second, and I'll be right back.
Thanks, Verena. Yeah, so Kelvin Van Der Linde explaining the situation from his point of view there. Not only do you have to be a very quick racing driver these days, you also have to be a software engineer, having to reset the car. So his loss was the gain for others. Let's hear from one of the drivers that gained from that now.
I've got Liam Lawson here, who did a really great job in the race, especially in the beginning. You did such a fantastic job leading the race even for a bit. But all in all, coming from P2 to P2, is that something you're okay with, you're happy with?
I mean, it's obviously, with the way we had in the car, I think it was the maximum today. I thought there was a bit, at the start when I got the lead, I thought maybe we could possibly win, but I knew that the start was my only opportunity to get to the lead. I knew both me and Phillip had all that extra weight, so I tried. Once I got it done, it was all good. We had sort of control of the race. Unfortunately, I stalled in the pit lane, and that's where I lost the lead to Kelvin. So, and from there on, it was just a struggle. I was lucky that Kelvin had the issue, and then for about 20 laps, I was just defending for my life. So, happy with the points. It's closed up the gap in the championship to, I don't actually know what it is, but it must be close now.
Absolutely. All right, well, thank you so much, Liam. See you later. See you in Zolder. And I'm going to try to grab Maxi, the winner, who's still, handshaking and whatever they do when they win, obviously, and Mike just pulling him over. So here he is, the winner. Maxi, congratulations. Your very first victory in DTM. You were fighting so hard in 3 seasons, and now finally you managed. So how does it feel to finally win?
Absolutely great. So I was hoping that we are still able to fight without having Kelvin having this issue, but all doesn't matter. Now we are on top of the podium, and it's also for Hop Racing team the first win in DTM. So I think the team is happy. I'm happy, and it was really emotional on the time when I crossed the finish line. I enjoyed every single moment, and I was freaking out in the car. And now I will freak out with this, and so I will enjoy this. And yeah, so. Keep focusing for getting more points during the year.
Of course, and it's only the 4th race, so in other words, we have so much more time, and anything from here obviously is possible. So Maxi, looking at the DTM, the new era, I mean, you've been racing in the DTM for a while, but again, it's a new era, and it's, if you ask me, absolutely spectacular. What is it like for you racing in this new series, or rather in the DTM, but new era?
Man, DTM is a big name and a big history, and it's for all of us which are driving in DTM, we have to be proud to be part of this and giving the fans, the spectators, a great show all weekend. And so it's really happy. And of course, this GT3 cars are a bit different to the old Class 1 cars. And the pit stops are really exciting. And if you have tire degradation, on this track it's not so high, but if you have tire deg like Monza, you have also nice races in the end. So I think fighting racing here today, it was maybe a bit not as we expected. Especially in the midfield, I guess there was not many fights. And for me, it was quite an easy one, driving in front and win this.
Absolutely, and coming from P3 to P1 is just fantastic. And yeah, Maxi, so enjoy it. I'm sure you're going to finish that and probably tonight some more.
I will.
All right, enjoy. Thank you so much, Maxi, and back to the commentator.
Thanks, Verena. That champagne's not going to last long at all, is it? Yeah, in absolute fairness to Max, he was, remember, just starting to close the gap to Kelvin Van Der Linde before Kelvin had his technical problems. So he would have been definitely fighting for the win anyway, but he's delighted with that. Moved up to 4th place in the championship standings after that race victory. Some great slow-mo shots here in the sunshine that we've all been blessed with here at the Lausitzring this weekend. It's been a fabulous couple of days. The action on track has been outstanding as well. Some great overtaking. That overtake from Liam Lawson and the similar overtake from Marco Wittmann into turn 2 were both brilliant. And that's one of the new marks of this new era of DTM. The overtaking is proper, real overtaking. There's no buttons to press, there's no DRS, there's no push to pass. It's all about drivers outwitting other drivers. And that, as a purist, I think is what you want to see. So it's been a brilliant day today. It was a really good day yesterday as well. And the crowd here have enjoyed having the opportunity to watch the racing trackside. We've enjoyed having them here too. We've enjoyed your company here with our coverage. From me, Chris Hartley, in the box, it's goodbye until Zolder in a couple of weeks' time. But let's hand back now to Verena.
Thank you so much to our commentator. And yeah, indeed, it has been a spectacular weekend here at the Lausitzring. We enjoyed full sunshine, and mostly importantly, we saw such amazing race action, really brilliant racing. And hopefully we're going to see something like that again in Zolder in just 2 weeks. So we're looking forward to that. And yeah, take care and see you soon. Bye-bye.